Hello, sports fans, and welcome to another edition of Scott Sports 101. I'm Scott Trella. We're going to talk Cavs today. We're going to talk about Game 4 of the Eastern Conference Finals last night with the series tied at 2 between the Cavs and Celtics. We'll also preview tonight's Western Conference Final game between the Warriors and Rockets. And we'll talk a little Tribe as well if we have time. But first, here's today's Scott Sports 101 trivia question. And it should be an easy one. Maybe it's a little tough, but hopefully you'll get it. And it is, why did Michael Jordan once wear number 12 instead of his traditional number 23 jersey in a game against the Orlando Magic? Was it A, it was his 12th wedding anniversary? B, it was his number he wore playing baseball that year? C, his jersey was stolen? Or D, in honor of Roger Staubach? I'll have the answer later on the broadcast. Now focusing on to talk about Game 4 last night of the Eastern Conference Finals between the Cavs and Celtics. I thought the Cavs played a great game. They had a spectacular first quarter. LeBron had really scored. LeBron was dominating. All the Cavs were dominating, and the ball passing was great. I feel the Cavs really kept the momentum going. They really were putting the pressure on Boston in the first quarter. But despite Boston's 19 fouls, and it was on Boston fouls in the first. Kevin Love and Kyle Korver and J.R. Smith were really stepping up their game, and I thought they did a great job in the first quarter. And Boston was shooting 27% from the field in the first half, and they did not have it in the first half, and the Cavs just kept being dominant, and they were passing the ball around, and they were just getting shots. They were getting the breaks and just the right calls, and in the second quarter, the Cavs were shooting 63% from the field, and the Cavs defense really stepped it up last night. Defense looked great. J.R. Smith and Kyle Korver made 2 of 3-pointers and were 4 for 4 from the field last night, both of them. The Cavs were up by 15 at halftime, 68-53, and LeBron was up to 22 points then. Kyle Korver was up to 14. And Boston gave up at least. They were down 65-53. They were down by 15. That is the most points Boston has ever given up in a first half. And I just feel that Boston's head coach Brad Stevens was not very happy. And I got to tell you, Boston did not look good, but the Cavs did. And Kyle Korver is really stepping up. He was 4 for 4 from the field, and the Cavs really needed it. And the Cavs kept the momentum going into the third quarter. And everybody was touching the ball, and everybody on the Cavs were contributing last night. And in the third, I thought LeBron was just doing a great job of scoring and taking shots and taking hits when he needed to and making shots when he had to. And the Celtics had 3 turnovers, but the Cavs had a lot. They had 19 turnovers in the game last night, and they cannot have that many turnovers in Game 5 tomorrow night against Boston in Boston. And you can see that one at 8:30 on ESPN. And I feel by far that they need to take Game 5 in Boston, and I feel that they are going to do just that. And the Cavs were up by 19 on the Celtics, but Boston cut it to 9. But the Cavs just kept padding that lead, but Boston would battle back. But the Cavs never let up. They kept the lead going. They kept padding it, and the Cavs were up by 13, 89-76 at the end of the third quarter. And they were up in the third quarter. They played well, but they started to let the Celtics get back into the game. But the Cavs maintained the lead, and they finished out the third quarter well, and the third quarter well, and I felt that they were, even though they let Boston get back into it, they maintained it well, that lead well, and I felt the fouls really did the Celtics in a big way. They were a factor in the Celtics' loss last night to the Cavs. And although Love had 5 fouls and Hill had 4, Smith had 3, I feel the Cavs really were dominating this game. And Tyler Lue says they're really passing the ball well. LeBron now and he was up to 37 points in the game. But as we know, LeBron had 44 points in last night's game, and it was his sixth 40-point game, in the postseason this year and in the regular season this year. And the Cavs had 13 assists in the first half, and LeBron was up to 39 points by the end of the third quarter. This was LeBron. Yeah, I just said that. In the fourth, the Cavs kept just dominating the game, but Boston kept battling back. I felt that they were letting Boston battle back and get back into it, but the Cavs were able to hold off the Celtics and win 111-102 over the Celtics last night. Tristan Thompson had 13 points, 12 rebounds, and I think 5 assists, I can't remember, and 12 rebounds. The series is now tied at 2, and Thompson played 30 minutes, and I say he played a great game last night. He did really well. And I say kudos to you, Tristan Thompson. And Kyle Korver has really been a consistent shooter and has been making rebounds and scoring three-pointers as well. And the Cavs had to have these two games. Heading back to Boston for Game 5. And I feel they cannot, as I said before, they cannot have all these turnovers. They've got to take Game 5 in Boston, and I think they're going to do just that. And then they're going to come back here Friday and end it at Game 6. And I want to I got to agree with what Campy Russell said. They got to not have turnovers. They got to not have so many fouls. They've got to get on Boston from the get-go when they play Game 5 in Boston. And they just played a great game last night, and they just really contributed in a big way. And also just really, they kept the Celtics, they kept the lead on the Celtics, and they just kept battling, kept patting the lead. And even though the Celtics battled back, they just were not getting the breaks. And I felt, the one call I thought was when Tatum felt that he had hit J.R. Smith, but I felt that was a bad call because J.R. did not hit him. It was a good call because J.R. Smith was not at fault. It was Jimmy Tatum's fault. So I just want to say that was a good call. Before we get to the Western Conference final preview, before I preview that, it's now time for the answer for today's Scout Sports 101 trivia question. And the question once again was, why did Michael Jordan once wear number 12 instead of his traditional number 23 in an NBA game against the Orlando Magic? A, it was his 12th wedding anniversary. B, it was his number he wore playing baseball that year. C, his jersey was stolen. Or D, in honor of Roger Staubach. If you said C, his jersey was stolen, you are correct. Michael Jordan's number 23 jersey was stolen, and he did not have it. They did not have another one, a 23 jersey. He did as a backup, but he did have a number 12 jersey with no name on the back, and wore that one for one game, which I thought that was a good thing back in those days. So if you said C, his jersey was stolen, you are indeed correct. We'll have another trivia question on Thursday after tomorrow's Game 5 against Boston. I will be back on Thursday, so stay tuned for that. Now for a preview of the Western Conference Final between the Warriors and Rockets. The Warriors lead that series 2-1, as the Warriors in Game 3 had a 41-point win against the Houston Rockets, in their Game 3 on Sunday night, And I felt the Rockets just they were not making the shots that they were needing to, and things were not going their way, and they just did not have it, and they have way too many turnovers. And I feel this next game, Game 4, is a must-win for the Rockets, because if the Warriors go up 3-1, they are going to be in trouble, and the only team that has come back from a 3-1 deficit is the Cleveland Cavaliers. So I feel, once again, I'm just going to repeat this, and I feel this next game for the Houston Rockets, Game 4, is a must-win for them. So, because they're going to want to tie it up. And their Game 4 between the Warriors and Rockets will be tonight at 8:30, or actually at 9 on TNT. So you can catch that one there. But I still feel that the Warriors have the edge in this series. And I feel, once again, in the NBA Finals for the fourth straight year in a row will be the Cavs and the Warriors. But I do feel the Rockets have a chance if they can tie it up. But they are going to want to steal one in Golden State when they play Game 5 there. So we'll have to see what they can do then, because they're going to have their work cut out. And so they're really going to have to get their momentum going. They're going to have to look at themselves, look at their mistake, look at what Golden State is, study Golden State, and they're going to have to jump on them from the get-go, and really keep their momentum going. They've got to double-team them if they have to, and they've got to make their shots and score 2-pointers, 3-pointers, but don't score 3-pointers all the time, only when you need to. But score 3-pointers a lot and just dominate the game. You've got to do that. It's just like with the Cavs and Celtics. And if they can do that, I feel they have a chance to tie it up. And I really think that I still really think, though, that the Warriors have the edge in this series. And turning now to baseball, the Indians will take on the Chicago Cubs today after losing 3-1 to the Astros Sunday. Today at 7:05 at Progressive Field. Trevor Bauer is on the mound for the good guys, and hopefully the Tribe can bounce back tonight against the Cubs, and also tomorrow against the Cubs at 7:05 at Progressive Field. And hopefully, I think the Tribe is going to pick it up in due time. The bullpen just really needs to step it up, because they have just not been playing well lately. The bullpen has not done well. They've been giving up a lot of runs. And I just feel the bullpen really needs to step it up, and I feel that they will do just that. And we're almost out of time, so I want to get back to the Cavs-Celtics series and talk about and give a little preview to Game 5 tomorrow in Boston between the Cavs and Celtics. And I feel with that being played at Boston, the Cavs need to do what they've done in the last 2 games. They need to come out. They need to keep the momentum going. Dominate from the get-go. Don't have so many turnovers. And score points from in the paint as well, like they've done the last 2 games. They need to do that. And they need to really give fouls when it's necessary, but don't have too many of them. That's another thing. And they need to really and maintain the lead from the get-go. Don't let up. Because you need to win this game in Boston, Cavs. They need to win it. I feel they need to steal this game and go up 3-2 and come back and end it in Game 6 on Friday, because most of us Cavs fans do not want Game 7 to happen. But there's a possibility Game 7 could happen, but we hope it does not. We do not want Game 7 because we don't do well when we have to play Game 7. Although we did win Game 7 in 2016 when we won the NBA title. And I feel that they're going to do just that. They're going to win Game 5 in Boston and come back here and end it in Game 6 on Friday. Well, that is going to wrap it up for this edition of Scott Sports 101. Always be a team player, each and every day, in every way possible. So long, everybody. 3, 2, 1. I'm done.